um, about this new initiative called the Trust Project. Came from Shane Mercer. Basically, it's pretty web driven. It's an initiative that highlights on the web with links and to tell people why we do the stories we do, or this is the type of story this is, or things like that. So there's not a lot of impact on us insofar as we're dealing mostly with print and that. However, there are some of us who do a lot of posting to the web, whether it be wire stories or sports stories, and they've wanted a paragraph to go at the bottom of all our wire stories. Now, these won't show up in print, but we'd have to, so I have to do them, so we have to create them as a module. And as I mentioned to, I think a couple other people today, I really got into journalism so I could create fucking modules. And that's going to be recorded, so yay. Anyway, so I'm working on that right now. And Rob Beer is helping me, so thanks to Rob. And basically, we're going to place those on all the templates, so you all shouldn't have to do anything. And since they're modules, they shouldn't appear in print. So, like, if you're going to grab the Wild story from St. Paul later, or the Twin story from St. Paul later, when you click on that Pioneer Press Pro Sports template, right at the bottom, there should be that module that says, this is a story we use from the wires, and here's why we use it from the wires, and whatever. And so I'm hoping to get that done within the next hour to 2 hours. And if I don't get it done today, you know what? But I'm going to try. So that's where that comes from, just to give you a little background on that. So when you see those emails coming over from Shane, and that's what it pertains to. So hopefully I'll have that done. And what else did I have? Okay, one thing brought up today, we had a meeting. I had a meeting with some of the IMOP managers, and they just noticed a couple things that they just wanted to bring up. Watch for stories, especially there's a few frequent abusers. In the print option, they forget to put the word by John Doe or by Jane Doe. You probably all know who they are. Oh, that's something back to so just keep an eye out for that. And some of this does come from the weeklies doing the system of doing Google first, then going through Brightspot, and but anyway, so that was just brought up today, so I wanted to bring that up to you all. So that's all I got.
Do we want to the correction? Talk about the
correction. Yeah, why don't we open a wound and pour salt in it? No, Meredith, who's not hearing this now because her computer's working, and Stephanie, she awarded some very big prizes. I'll let Alicia worry about that. The trust story came over yesterday. Now, we don't handle that from the from pod. Those come through kind of the FNS JJ team, and Jeremy Fugelberg's kind of the editor. So that came over, and a couple of the papers used it. We placed it, put it on their pages. It was rife with errors, and Meredith and Stephanie caught them late last night and updated. Now, there were a couple papers, Grand Forks, Duluth, I think Mitchell, ran it in print. And so we had the Vault people write up a correction today, and I sent out a note to all the editors asking that if they ran that story either in their e-edition or print, that they run this correction. So yeah, it was I commend those people for catching that. Yeah, it was just an ugly thing. So that's that. So if one of your papers ran it, you should run the correction. Most papers, run their corrections like on page 2 or page 3 at the bottom, or whatever. So yeah, so that's that.
I'm just gonna ask, do the papers that ran it know that they ran? I mean, do we need to talk to Mitchell, or Mitchell would be the one that I would flag as saying maybe they don't even know because they don't always even have all their shit together when it comes to
I'm not gonna read their own paper for them. They can do that. They should know if they ran it.
Do you want us to run that in the next print edition then, or can we run it in the e-edition, like Duluth? Like, should we run it in the e-edition tonight, or wait till Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a local editor call. Yeah, there is that difference between the print and the e-edition. If I were the editor, I would say I would run it in my next print edition. But again, I would check with your local editors. And some might go, yeah, let's just run it tomorrow. And then, but personally, I would run it in the next print edition. But that's a good point. I would check with your local editors.
I have a quick question on the trust project. Things that we're not entering the work type. If
Yes.
that's not being filled in, is that something that we should decipher, or should we be asking those editors to fill that in always?
That should come from the local editors. Yes. We should push that back to them. They know whether the stories, I mean, if you saw the first list that came through or whatever, there's a whole list of news investigation, behind the scenes, blah, 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 blah. News reporting, use news reporting. If you do add them, just add news reporting. That's pretty basic. It's going to cover most everything, is what I was told. However, I want them to get in the habit of doing it on their end. And I thought they told us that there was something that they wouldn't let it save the article unless it had it filled in.
It won't publish. It'll
Oh.
save, but it won't publish. So it wouldn't kick out a thing. So I've already added news reporting explainer, and automatically, I'm thankful for the list we had, but it was one of those, hey, editor, I added this for you. Hope that was right. We just got the list today, sort of thing. So
yeah, no, it should be their job. The reporter knows what kind of story they wrote. The local editor knows what kind of story they wrote. So that should be filled in before it gets to us. If it is not, you send it back. And if we get a lot of complaints about it, they can come right to me.
Cool.
They did say columns pretty much cover, everything from like gardening to, why this tax is bad at the legislature. I mean, it's pretty widespread for columns. Even something like Astro Bob. I mean, it's a column. I mean, it's about astrology, but should it be under the same as
astronomy?
Or astronomy, sorry.
It's different.
Should it be under the same as hard-hitting editorials under columns?
Matt, there's not a columns category. You mean opinion?
Opinion. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, opinion is what I meant to say. So yeah, it's Astro Bob's opinion about
and
astronomy.
like antiques, like Sandy Urban, like antiques and shit like that. Is that still going to be opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
like, what about, this is like another thing, like McFeely Bison. Sometimes he does like a column reported story type of, that's the thing where it's kind of like a gray area, I feel like.
Again, kick that back to your local editor.
Okay.
Again, we're all journalists and we can, but I'm not going to try to decipher what the intent of that story. That should be done at their level.
not to make it a pain in the ass, but is it an option to have that, like, that they can't save, a draft without entering that information? I just feel like that would really help kind of make sure that's being filled in initially by whoever's writing it or putting it together, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring that up with the Bright Spot nerds. I mean employees, and then try to see. Why are you recording me when I just rip on people? I don't get this. Anyway,
Yeah, it's, I mean, this is already holding me back and pushing.
How many times have you done it so far today? Would you say, Meredith?
4 or 5, and that's just for Rochester.
Okay. You know, the other thing I can do is, you know, Alicia and I can both send out a blanket email saying to the local editors, this is on you to fill this in before it gets to the pod.
Yes, please do that.
I know it was like deploying this morning while I was working on some stuff, and I don't know if like the
Oh yeah,
reporter-
it launched this morning like at 8. Then it was 9.
Yeah.
Then it was 11. So yeah,
Like, I was working on one of Dana's stories for FNS, and I had trouble with that, and also Rob Port. So I don't know, like some of those people, like maybe the FNS people know, but I don't know if Rob Port knows knows that. So that's probably something that JJ needs to make sure everyone knows. Oh, there's another Rob Port. I don't know. I guess he's always opinion, but
Jack, are you saying as a communication company we don't communicate very well sometimes?
no, I would never say that.
No, we wouldn't say that. Again, this is recorded, so I'm just going to go out on.
Yeah, I would never say that.
Record away.
Yeah, let's do that. Alicia, you and I after the meeting we'll craft an email and send it out telling them that it's on them to do these workflows.
Okay. On a slightly happier note, I did finish the holiday schedule, so I will send out an email shortly with who's working what on all of our holidays. Everybody got their first, second, and third choice of days off. A couple of you have to work your fourth, and then everybody else is like your fifth on down that you end up on. Everyone is scheduled for 3 holidays this year, and that's when we include the eves as a holiday. Like I said, you know, the eves aren't paid holidays, but I know that they're important to a lot of people, so I wanted to make sure that that was one of your options, and several of you did pick eves. So that's all set up, and it worked out okay with the variety of holidays that you all prioritize. So I'll get that email sent out either tonight or tomorrow. All right, anybody have anything else? All right, well, thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.